Lady in blue, what do you do? The world after. Lady in blue, where's the money? The lady in blue, world after. Where's the money?
The World After by The Lady in Blue. Where is the money? How to use future trends, the future, to generate business in the near future. Where to find the money?
Where's the money?
How does this whole system work? I'm going to explain it in this first podcast in two parts. In the first part, I'm going to explain how future trends work and that the DNA of today, of where you are, is not a status quo. In the second part, I'm going to explain how you can use a future trend to generate business. All right, we start with how can we see the future and how does it work? I take an example out of the fashion industry. Maybe you're not into the fashion industry and you think, okay, that's it. Well, fashion is a very good mirror for a lot of things, an easy way to explain. And everybody is involved in fashion. I don't know anybody who's going naked to work. So we almost every day in our life dress. So we all know it. We are all involved. So it's a beautiful example. If I'm going to tell you, I see a future trend, which I saw for many years already, and it's really getting through now, skirts for men. You probably go like, you can say that, you with your blue hair, but do you really think that we in 10 years, and maybe you are a banker or just a guy living in the countryside and you go like, no, I'm not trendy and no, you can think that, but no way. Well, what we have to realize first is that the way we see the normality right now, I'm in Amsterdam, right here, 2021, March, that reality is not the status quo. And we can do two things. We can move over the earth and we can go back in history. And if we can go back in history, then we can also imagine how it can be in the future. So I make a little circle always with my hands and I see over that circle the history, the now, and the future. And if we go back to the history and we think about skirts for men, we just have to go to a museum, open a book, and we see paintings with men with skirts. So yes, there used to be periods that it was really normal. Also, little boys in Europe used to go to school until like 8 years old with little dresses or skirts. And in Italy, that was even a normality up to 40 years ago. And if we go even further in the history to the prehistorical man, he was naked. They didn't have fabrics. They didn't have materials to sew fashion. And he was probably cold. And probably he found a piece of that animal that was dried in the sun, fur, and he wrapped it around. And so probably the first item, fashion item of a man, as like the woman, was a skirt. So it is us thinking that a skirt for men is impossible and really female. So that is, if you realize that, you start to realize maybe the way we think about it right now is a bit strange, is not so normal. And if you know that, you know also that it's very easily that it can change again back to the normalities of other times, so that the fact that skirts will be normal for men in the future is not so strange at all. And Secondly, if we can move over the earth. So, what I said, I'm in Amsterdam, but I just have to go over to England and Scotland, and I see men walking around in skirts, the kilts. And we even see Prince Charles doing it. And we even kind of like don't realize we almost don't see it. And if you start searching on him, it's wonderful what he does with it. He has the checks on his kilt, and then he combines it with socks, with little bags, and the color of his jumper, and it's gorgeous. It's so fashionable, but we kind of don't see it. We don't notice until you start noticing it. And then we can just go over to Morocco, which is North Africa, but even not far away from here in Amsterdam. And there we see men walking around in dresses, which is kind of a skirt. And it's often as a protection against the sun, a protection against the sand in the Sahara. And there it's normal. So that is, again. And then we go to other regions in the world, and it's also normal. So it's thinking that it's impossible is just maybe even a bit limited. It's just you in that place. And feeling that it can be different makes it open to change in the future. So that is like away from the status quo. The way I saw that skirts were going to be trendy again or the norm for men, I can't exactly remember, but probably I saw it somewhere in a magazine, in a city, Instagram, which is there right now, but the way when I discovered it, there was not Instagram yet. But you kind of like feel it, and then you go and think about it, and that's the way I just explained. And I was like, okay, it's not so strange. And often it's like in the air, so it's not only me noticing it. No, it's a DNA of the time. It's starting to change. And then often other people pick it up as well. And they're like unexpected things that are in the end not so unexpected. And 3 years ago, we had a really hot summer in Europe, and in Norway or Sweden, one of the two. At the railway station, there was in the fashion regulations that Bermudas were not allowed. And the men that worked there probably, they were really, it was really hot. So what did they do? They said, okay, no, Bermudas allowed, skirts are allowed, so let's wear skirts. So they started wearing skirts, and it went all over the images. And it was so wonderful because the more you looked at it, didn't look female, it looked really cool. And the same happened in Wales, where there was a high school, and the boys, like 16 years old, were like, okay, then we're going to wear skirts. And, there were also beautiful images. And other things happened. I was at the Dam Square, also like around 3 years ago. Center of Amsterdam, touristic area, in front of the H&M. And there was a guy and with sneakers and a kilt and, a little backpack. And I was like, wow, you're cool. Can I make an image? And he said, oh yeah, it's my football club. The flag of it is on there. And it was kind of synthetic fabric, which was like, it wasn't even a classical kilt, but a translation into nowadays. And he was so proud. And I was like, yes, there's something happened. Then we see Marc Jacobs doing it, Tom Brown, or Tom Brownery, on Tom Brownery on Instagram, a lot of skirts for men. And even the day before yesterday, there was a picture of Mark Bryan 9/11 at Instagram. And he said, and he is like wearing an enormous dress with high heels. And his account, he has 300K followers. And he says, like, I'm a straight guy, doesn't matter. But I mean, saying it's not only in the fancy gay going out scene. And he's a normal guy, he's straight, he has children, goes to work in a dress. And, I was like, yes, this is really, really going to happen. So this is an example of how you can see it, how it's working. Now, part 2. Where is the money?
Where's the money?
Imagine you're a jeans company or you're an investor. Then I first go over to a book I was reading from a very famous trend forecaster, Faith Popcorn. And I was like, I think 18 years or something. It's like a little while ago. And I read this book. I was already interested in trends, but not realizing I was a trend forecaster. And she described future trends as horses. And she said it's like a horse that is running, and some like go whoop really fast and then they go away, stop running, and some start running and they are like steady running. And as a business, you have to try to jump on that horse, uh, jump on that future trend. And I think that is even more, probably she said that as well. You also can use it, and maybe you have to use it because it's the sign of the time. Otherwise, you can be out. Some trends go like really fast, and it's like what a lot of people think. They're like, I'm not trendy. Yes, it's like white nail varnish or a specific kind of eyeglasses. Whoop, it's there, and then it's gone. But other trends are stable. They start softly running, galop, soft, and then they stay. And that's, for example, sustainability. And then in the end, often it's not a trend anymore, it's a normality. And probably the way it was before is old fashioned, like producing without thinking about pollution. It's like you even can't think about it anymore. And yeah, that is what's going on. So it's the new DNA of the future. And what's happening is that into seeing that future, maybe another example with IT, which is like really clear, is that we had LPs, then it became CD, then it became iTunes, and then it's Spotify. So it like completely changed. The typewriting machine is now the computer. So if you don't go with it, then in the end you're old-fashioned. So that's the other reality of it. Okay, now we imagine you're a label of jeans, and then after it, I will tell it from the point of view of investor. And here comes in the creativity and the business mind. Imagine you're a label of jeans. And what you do is mostly making trousers. And for women and for men. And there are some men who wear it every day. And there are some men that wear it often. And some not, but that's not so relevant in this case. So when you start realizing, men are also going to wear skirts, it means you have to, it's an opportunity. You can make sure, you can explore your items into skirts, because there will be business in the future.
Where's the money?
So what are you going to do? You see, this can be happening and I want to be in. So you go on with your own business, the trousers for men, it's your milk cow, but you start searching and you start thinking about, and you think like, okay, what's my identity of the fabric? It's quite rough. Skirts for men. Oh yeah, we have the kilt, and that's also a good kind of model for the fabric I'm dealing with. So let's start making, just to try out, some kilts and jeans. And then you're going to think like, where is it going on? Which are the people? And for example, Mark Bryan 911, or Marc Jacobs, or influencers, or magazines, or styling people. And you try to see if you can talk with them, if you can cooperate with them. And that's the way you start it up. So you explore it, and it's all fun. It's not exactly like, oh, this is the money for tomorrow, but you start. And then you're going to understand it. You're going to make some new skirts because the others don't work, and so on. And you're going to feel it. You're going to be more refined in it, and you're going to be in touch with the right people. And then when it's really hitting, you're already in it, so you can expand it. You know how to do it. And also the men who are pushing it further, you're involved with, and you're in that. So if more people want to buy jeans in the form of a skirt, men, they know they have to go to you. So it's a whole process you want to be in. You start it up, and the moment it's bang, getting there, you're already in it, or you're ready to step even further in it. So that's from the point of view of a label, jeans label. And now we start thinking about an investor. So imagine you're an investor buying fashion companies. That can be as big as LV and March, but it can also be just someone. And the fashion industry, it's difficult time right now. So new opportunities, a new booming business is interesting. And if you know that, the skirts for men are going to be it, or very important at least. It's a new market. So you can think about, okay, which kind of skirts again? You can, for example, see the kilts. So what you're going to do is you're going to investigate the companies that produce kilts in Scotland, for example. And you see who they are, you understand which one are good, which are less good. Maybe you make a trip there, funny trip for a week, business trip, and you go and see them. And then you can do two things. Or you think, okay, I know who they are, and if this trend is really getting big, I'm going to buy them. It can also be that you know so well that this is going to happen, and I advise you that you say, well, now I can buy one of those companies relatively cheap because their market is for the moment small, relatively small, and I know that it's booming, so the price it's worth now is less high than in the near future. So I make the investment and then I'm in. And so there you already, by buying it, generate money. And in 5 years, it maybe doubles the price. That is the system it's working. And this is an example in the fashion industry. Another example is online business school focusing on women, coaching, online business. I know someone in Holland, and she's focusing on women, how to do that, and she's using also a lot of also meditations, spirituality, but also really into to generating money, so really commercial, but also including spirituality. And I said to her, well, if you realize that men are becoming softer, so in the past, there were women in business, but not so many. And in order to be accepted in the world of business, they became rather masculine and behaved quite analytic, dressed a little bit like men. And now women in business are getting more normal. And the next step now, and it's also involving the world after, I'm going a bit fast now, but it's a good example. There's more spirituality right now in the world after Corona, meditation, also in business, also for men. And if you know that, then you can think, okay, I'm focusing on women, but I know that the way I do it for women will be more and more also suitable for men because they become more female. Then you can think, okay, then I can in fact double my business because I can include men as well as women. And that means that you can change it. And maybe in the approach of in your marketing, you don't have to exclude the man, or you don't only say the word woman, or you don't focus on the woman. So knowing that can double your business in a way. And so that is an example of how a trend, femality into masculinity, can involve a business that in the first place doesn't realize it involves her business. You see what I mean? And in the next podcast, I will explain this even further. So far, the first podcast of the world after. If you're interested in, and I think it's really nice, the visuals of this podcast, so you can see the way the skirt evolved for men, then you can send a secret code, skirts, to my Insta account with a DM, and that's at the lady in blue, blue spelled on the Italian way, so without the E on the end. And you also can see more information about our memberships on theladyinblue.com, also without the E on the Italian way. And we have a membership where I explain twice a week a future trend. Next time, I'm going to talk about the world after Corona, how it is a catalyst of many things that were already in the air. So that's one. And also the way future trends speed up. So the moment something is happening, you signalize something until the moment it's reality, it became so much faster. And in the past, it took almost 7 years before a trend really became hot. Now it's really a couple of weeks. And that is because the world is moving so fast in the new decade, the world after. Thank you for listening. Be there next week and start thinking about this. It's a really lovely process, signalizing the trends and then using your creativity and your business mind in order to create new product concepts, business concepts, strategies, and marketing concepts. Thank you ever so much. See you next week.
Lady in